Welcome to Base Touring with Daisy. Karma Island. This is probably the base I hear most often mentioned when people ask what are the best bases in Paragon. This beautiful base, which really feels more like a zone, was the winner of the first ever Everlasting Base contest and tends to leave visitors awe-inspired when they visit it. The premise of this place is an old town which has been built over the remains of a pirate fort in the Caribbean. This island is big, and with so many buildings, it can be overwhelming to try and figure out which ones can be entered. Fortunately, the builder gave me this map with zones, descriptions, and points of interest. We begin in the entry zone, where you come in the supergroup portal. This small area has, simply, the entry, the Grocer, and Karma Abbey. Since Karma is an island, of course, you enter at the docks. In front of you, you will see the Grocer. Now you can't enter the Grocer, but it makes great ambiance. You can already get a sense of Karma's great strength. That it really does look like an old town built on a small hilly island. Up the stairs to the right is the entry to the rest of the island, and to the left of the stairs you can just make out an unobtrusive sign that recommends the command /Viscale 4 for best viewing. At the top of the stairs you can go either right or left, or even enter the park through the archway. Right now we are going to go left, down towards Lower Karma. Walking this way will take us right past Karma Abbey. This is a point of interest, but you can't enter this interior either. The builder has done a good job of making something that looks much like an abbey with the stonework and the gargoyles. Note the use of the iron fencing and creating windows that set this building apart from the other ones nearby. Most of the buildings on the island are made of stone, or a combination of stone and wood. Now the builder told me something a little surprising about his building technique. Since he was aiming at making older buildings, he wanted them to look older and so somewhat imperfect. So he deliberately did not try to line things up for perfect placement, but rather aimed for imperfection to enhance the effect of an older building. I think this technique achieved the desired effect. Now we're just going around to the side of the Abbey, because on the back side there's a little courtyard there that's quite pretty. To the right we go up the stairs, and there's a pool and seating and just enough vegetation to be pretty. You'll want to look up and around frequently in this base to take in all of the details and the sheer scope of this build. So over to the left here, there are some stairs that go up to some doors and overlook the park. And down below, there's a little alleyway with a tunnel that comes in from another street. Then on the right side, there's another set of stairs going up to a door. Details like this just give more of the impression of things that have been made to fit the space they are in, much like you would find on a small island or in Europe. Very much the flavor here. And now we are looking out over Lower Karma. Lower Karma used to be simply known as Port Karma before the rest of the island was built up. Now it's the Arts and Entertainment District. It also contains basement apartments, hostels, and back alleys, which make for interesting side trips off the main road. Points of interest include the Port Karma Social Club, the Seaside Hotel, and the Lighthouse. Right now we are at the Abbey's Courtyard. The more you explore this island, I think the more of an appreciation you can develop for all of the layout this builder has put into this island. The little nooks and crannies, the little alleys off to the side, just give it a real sense of realism. Like a tiny island village that has crammed itself into a small hilly island. Some buildings in these situations come out a bit irregular too, and if you've traveled overseas, you may have seen towns much like this one. Here, it feels as though we've stumbled into someone's courtyard. You can easily imagine that this would be a residential area. You know, when I spoke to @Dropout about his base, he was understandably proud of its great reputation, which keeps people coming by to visit, But at the same time he seemed a bit puzzled because, as he pointed out, he really didn't know a lot of base building when he started. He just started by learning the basics like all of us do, learned as he went, and expanded the base over time. He used large pieces, didn't add a lot of small details, didn't blend a lot of things together to create new pieces for things that you can't find in the editor. In other words, he didn't really seem to think this was a very complicated base to build. He didn't say this specifically, but I really think his message was one of encouragement, that really, a great base isn't out of reach of anyone. And we've arrived at the end of Lower Karma, right between the social club and the seaside hotel. Now let's head into the social club. Inside the glass doors is a small foyer. Ahead stairs head down. To the left is a lounge with a coffee bar. Note the sunlight streaming in through the windows. The builder said he worked hard to make sure that the buildings did not block the sunlight for the other buildings. That's quite a feat in planning. Upstairs, more pub-style seating with a loft that looks over the cafe below. To the left is a small but comfortable room, probably for more private meetings. Now, if you follow the stairs from the foyer downstairs, you will pass a small bathroom on your way to an intimate cabaret-style lounge. There's a small stage and a bar here. Across the street is the Seaside Hotel. I like the revolving doors. Past the revolving doors, we come into the lobby. It's a cozy lobby with a small bar and things you would normally find in a lobby, like seating and plants and so forth. And here's check-in. Now, these stairs go up to the only open and apparent rooms in the hotel, which form an apartment for the base builder's character. Several flights of stairs up, you will come to a velvet rope, indicating, of course, that the rooms beyond this are not really hotel rooms. The apartment has a small front room. Then there's this kitchen. It has a nice view of the church. Then there's the central room, which overlooks the harbor and the Lady Luck statue out there through the window. And then a terrace with a nice rooftop pool. On the other side is another side room, and this has an attached bathroom. Again, beautiful views. Upstairs, at the very top, there's a sunroom. Now back outside the hotel, if you go past the steps and down these stairs, you come to the harbor. To the right is the Lady Luck statue overlooking the harbor and the boats. To the left is a ramp that goes up. I wanted to see if I could get to the lighthouse from here. Turns out I couldn't get there directly, but if you turn left at the top of the ramp, you'll find a street. And going down the street a little ways, on the right-hand side you'll see a large gargoyle face over a fountain. Go up the stairs next to those, and at the top of the stairs you'll find you're overlooking the street that leads to the Abbey Courtyard. And then the rest of the stairs are up to the right, and there's the lighthouse. The lighthouse also cannot be entered, but it's still a beautiful place to see, and it makes a great landmark. For reference here, you can see the bell tower overlooking the Abbey's courtyard just behind the lighthouse. And that finishes up Lower Karma. Next we're going to see the Old Fort Road. This is the quieter part of town, mainly apartments and homes built on top of the island's old pirate forts. Some parts of the forts can be entered to visit the cave below. This section of the map includes Red's Coffee, the subway station, the hospital, and the radio station known as C4AM. To head to the Old Port Road from the intersection between the social club and the hospital, head west with the social club on your right. At the first bend in the road, you'll see the stairs coming down from 7 Statues Park. A little farther on down the road, on the left-hand side at the next bend in the road, you'll find more stairs going down to the left. These go through a tunnel into a small courtyard. Then take a right, and through that wooden door, you'll be in the radio station C4AM. Here's the control booth room, and there's a window there you can look through into the studio, which is just around the corner. It's a small radio station, but nicely set up. Now, the rest of the way down the street, you'll find the subway station. Across the street from that is the hospital. This small island hospital has a basic setup. Here is the waiting room and the nurses. Upstairs from that, you'll find a small waiting area and what I believe is the emergency room. It has a nurse's station and 4 different emergency style beds. Upstairs on the next level is a waiting room, and attached to that is what I believe is probably a doctor's office. It's nicely appointed. And then upstairs from that door you will find a suite suitable for a hospital stay. Back across the street, walking through the subway station will take you through to some stairs. Below, you'll find a non-functioning elevator to the right, and a passageway into the caves on your left. As you can see, the old pirate cave now contains a submarine, as well as some buildings. I do love the view out of the cave with all the vegetation there. It's very nice. Back up outside the subway station at the end of the street, you come to some stairs overlooking a little terrace. On the right, you'll find Red's Coffee Shop. It's just a little coffee shop. Now we will head north into Upper Karma. We pass in front of the church. As the road starts to go up, there are stairs on the left, and these lead to a courtyard and a little shop known as the Crypt Keeper's Slushy Shop. It's small, but cute. Back to the road we were on, we are now heading into Upper Karma. Upper Karma is the high-end part of town, full of fancy shops and businesses. It's the newest part of town. Some buildings were done in the Haussmann style, most notably this condominium. The points of interest include the Icon store, the Grand Karma Hotel, and I will also include the Governor's Diner because it opens onto the same street as Icon, even if not technically the same district. Here is the wedge-shaped Haussmann-style condo. Haussmann was a famous architect, famous for his redesign of Paris under Napoleon. It really does resemble that style quite closely. Across from us is Icon. And here's the interior. It's meant to be quite minimalist due to its high-end clothing. Across the street is the Grand Karma Hotel. It's got a more complex roofline than most of the buildings. I didn't think you could go inside of it, but then I found this door. There are no stairs to access the walkway, but there is a room that you can go into, sort of a lounge. It looks to me as though the builder may be going to expand the interior at some point. Between Icon and the hotel is a little street. It doesn't go anywhere special, but there are lots of these nooks and crannies, and it's usually worth it to go see what's there. Back down the street, you'll see the Governor's Diner, directly across the street from Icon. It's a small but nice little diner, with great views all around. To the right of the Haussmann condominium is the Governor's Manor. The manor sits on the highest point of the island. The views up here are just spectacular. These stairs will take you up to the front door. However, you'll have to jump or fly over the building to actually get to see the inside. After all, it's a private residence. You come into the living room, which is very rustic, with a nice fireplace, and that's the door to the foyer. Across the hallway, we go into the kitchen. The builder has made things very rustic in here too, very much in keeping with the age of the buildings. I like the icebox instead of a refrigerator, and the hanging herbs. Lots of great editing choices in here, which help them stay consistent with the rest of the island. Just down the hallway, the first door on the left, is a study. Note the Victrola. That's a great detail and I love it. At the end of the hallway, we find a bedroom. Lots of rustic details in here as well. And a bath, which also is rustic. Up the stairs, on the right-hand side, we find a small office. And to the left is a large exercise room. And when we go down this road, back towards the entry, we've completed the circuit. We're back where we started. And here's the chapel, which is part of our last district, Seven Statues Park. Seven Statues Park is the popular place to hold events, or just walk on the paths, or sit at the pool on hot days. Points of interest include Rose Chapel, the Hermit, and the Church of the Blind Saint. We will start here at Rose Chapel. This is a simple one-room chapel, but it's very pretty, especially with all the plants and the sunlight streaming in through the windows. But it's also utilitarian. Across the street is the archway into the park. This road is known as Karma Road. In the distance you can see some scaffolding still there from the last event that was held here. A dropout tells me that lots of people request to use his base for events, whether that be a party of some sort or a wedding or some other event. I think it's great that he lets people use his base so much. Since this park is named for its statues, I thought we'd take a look at those. Here is Warrior Woman. This is Shield Maiden. Here's the Roman warrior. And the cleric. And the centurion. And finally, the lion. Yes, that's a witch's hat on his head, but no wardrobe in sight. To the east is the gate that leads to Lower Karma and the hermit statue. Back in the park, a path to the north leads to the swimming pool. Just past that is a beautiful sundial. This is one of my favorite features. And finally, we are ready to go see what is probably the biggest attraction, and certainly the most dominating building on the island, the Church of the Blind Saint. It has a very impressive entryway. Inside, to the left is a confessional, and to the right, holy water, I believe. Down the aisle, on the chancel, is a beautiful arbor, which would be a beautiful feature in a wedding, and I'm sure it has been. To the right of the arbor you can see a door, and this leads to stairs that go up to the second level. It's a nice view from above, too. Check out this organ. Very well done. On the far side of the organ, there's another passage that leads up to the bell tower. And of course, at the top of the stairs, here are the bells. And that's mostly all of the island. I'm just going to show you what it looks like at night, because the builder often turns on the night sky for many of the events. He has the island lit for either continual daytime or continual night. I want to encourage you to come here on your own, because as much as I've shown you, it's still not all there is to see, and I think that seeing a base in person is a much different experience. And this certainly is a most impressive base. It's really huge. Some people will see a base like this and become discouraged on their own base building because they think their base can never be as good. But remember, base building is just taking one step after another until you reach your goal, and being open to learning new techniques and changing what you've already put down so you can improve things. Sometimes that takes a while. No base starts out as a great base, of course. And you don't have to have a bunch of special tricks to have a base turn out really well. Of course, exceptional bases have exceptional skills in them somewhere, and in this case, @Dropout's exceptional skills in layout design and his amazing vision have combined to give us the treasure that is Karma Island. Thanks for joining me.